base, their nonprofit is the Lincoln Center of New Jersey. That's their overhead. Combat Paper Studios, Ithaca, New York. Combat Paper Nevada, it's in Reno. And then I'm based in San Francisco. Okay, so there's a website. So the thing that I'm hoping to do here, right, is to continue to expand that idea around, this fiber that we were inevitably humans. Paper, in the same way as clothing, is ubiquitous in the human experience, and all of us have an association with both of those things. Those things really appropriate to think of clothing as a point of story and turn it into paper, which allows you to tell a story. And paper through time has been used in that very way, right? To record information, to bind into book, to share and delve into a new discovery and kind of throw it to the winds and see whatever kind of future moment it'll arrive in. So to expand beyond this, to move past memories of warfare, direct memories of warfare, and think about how I guess what's the aftermath, and what are our memories of clothing that don't necessarily have to do with violence, conflict, to think in ways that we can transcend those things that have very much defined a lot of our lives, our young lives, and turn it into something else, transcend it. So here, so far, the solicitation has gone out and sort of, if you had, this is combat paper, right? This is the premise that we work on, and this is how we've been operating for the past 7 years. But if you had the opportunity to make something into paper, what would you use? For me, if there's one thing that we do not lack, is uniforms. So for me, I'll continually make paper out of uniforms. There seems to be an urgency around it. There are more and more people, as the years go on, that find out about and that want to figure out how to create a workshop or to bring a workshop. So that's where I'm at. But where are you at, right? What would you want to make in the paper? So what's been really, really, really moving is that people have brought in a variety of different things thus far here in the third day in the visit. So some of the folks are here, which is really great. So I'm going to show an example. So I've been using a decal box, which allows you to make a single sheet of paper with not very much fiber. And this is the size of portraits that we're making here. So this is my nephew, Lincoln. He's 1.5 years old. And my brother and his family came down from just north of Seattle and spent a day and a half here using Lincoln's clothing that he had grown out of. And so it's cotton, it's his bib and like his onesies with little feet that are sewn into it, those things. He's like walking around now, so he doesn't need them. And so that's a portrait of Lincoln. I think it's great. I'm really into this one. I was at home in Iowa recently, and I was digging around for my grandfather's flag. He served in the military, and those, if you get military funeral, that they drape a flag on the casket. It's 9.5 by 5 feet, and it's often passed on to the next of kin who's present at the funeral. So it's been passed on, and I have it now. I was digging around looking for it. I found this. This is my Sesame Street blankie from when I was a tiny, and I'm going to turn this into a portrait of myself. I'm excited about that. And then we were hanging out today, making paper, and this woman Holly showed up. It was Holly and her mother and her 2 kids, and she had just read the story, the call in Mercury about what was going on here. And she was compelled to bring in all of the uniforms that she had left from her father. So she came in with a bag, and 4 people showed up. And all of these uniforms that he wore in Vietnam. He was killed when she was 5 months old in 1967, Halloween in 1967. And through 47 years, they've just been like what? In the closet, in the trunk, in the closet, in a box, moving around, around. And so reading the article, she thought what a perfect thing to do with these. So she brought them in, and this is the 100% cotton green sateen, they called it, U.S. Army. So I'm gonna make this into a portrait, absolutely. I'm looking forward to that. I thought that was really great too. Sarah, she brought in a t-shirt that was from the first exhibition that she had worked on. It was like whatever, it's had the name of the artist and the show dates, and so she brought that in and we made a portrait of her. Trish brought in her uniform that she wore in the last part of the military, in the Army, and then also her child, so her baby. And then, who else? We got Dan brought in a t-shirt, Vietnam Full Disclosure, which is a website, vietnamfulldisclosure.org, and it has an image from Vietnam and also the website, so it's a t-shirt. Turn that into a portrait. And who else? Oh, we brought in, what's your husband's name again? Jim. Jim's desert camis from the Navy. What else am I missing here, folks? What else?
Shelby.
And Shelby, yeah, he hasn't cut it up yet. He'll be back. And Shelby brought in a 48-star flag that was his grandfather's. Mm-hmm. So, does anyone know what era that would be? I'm trying to. 48-star changed over in like the late 40s, early 50s. So it's prior to that, you know, when Alaska and Hawaii came on the scene. So he's had it for a long time. He's been hanging in the studio. So we'll make a few portraits of his grandfather through a flag, as told through the flag. I'm really excited and thankful to be here because I love paper making, as you may be able to tell, and I really like to teach people. And the thing that's been really exciting about these portraits, this is the first time I've tried this, is that people are taking ownership. They're ready to make their own portraits. And they're finding their own meaning in it. And I guess for an artist, that's anything I could ever ask for is that something that I get to do and that I love and would do anyways, that somebody else finds meaning in it. So that's essentially what we're doing here. And I have my oracle. I have the prototype hidden behind the door. And then I have all clean and spiffied up, number 18. So that was built in 2012. The prototype was built in 2009. I think there are over 25 of them now that Lee has built. I also have a portfolio over there with the World War I prints, the Beyond Zero, 1914 to 1918 is the name of that piece, the collaboration. So you can flip through and we can talk about those. And then I'm curious if you have any questions.